Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Global Business School Network Online Teaching Training Series. This was the very first slide 3 months ago, which you saw. This is the background which we used in order to get the whole story started. And actually, I don't think I had a full understanding where the story would go, how it would work out, how much fun it would be. Thank you to all of you. And this was the first 20 minutes. We were trying to set the scene, trying to understand. This is, as usual, the wonderful picture from Veronique, but we wanted to convey a message. We wanted to create a different seminar. We all have been on the different business school seminars, but we all have kind of realized, it's not going to do the trick. So our ambition, what we discussed in the first moments, can we kind of create joy? Can we create some energy? This is a disruption happening. And it's not easy. We're going to lose stuff. We're going to gain stuff. But how can we go about it? And creating this little community around us, sharing, and the sharing helping us to upskill, to reskill, but essentially between the joy and the energy, kind of to create a life out of it so that we can live with it in a pleasure. This was something where we started. This was the very first conversation we had together. And then we started down this roller coaster. Who are we? Are we introvert, extrovert? Together with Sumitra, we talked about the tech side. How does it become a partnership? We had David flying in from Tennessee doing the storytelling. We had Adrian kind of, the icebreaker. We had Nana. Nana is with us today, talking about the EQ connections. We had Frank talking about the breakouts. We had Michael, the man from Ireland, talking about how do we actually deal with these complex systems, the humans and the real world. We had Sabine talking about our best, we had, I'm losing it, sorry. Then we talked about our best self, and we had our wonderful opera singer. And now, then in the last session, we had Sabine who showed us how can we actually help those people. You see, there are numbers in front, and the numbers will play a role today because this is where we're going to have our breakouts. But before we're going to get to the breakouts, I want to do something on top of it. I want to thank the people. Typically, it's always on the back, but this was a journey. This was an exploration. This was an adventure. We started. And rather than doing it at the end in the last 30 seconds, it's kind of, I want to say thank you. Because, wow, without Emma, nothing would have worked. Emma was there and she kind of scutted us up. She has been completely approved. She took care of us before, during, after. What a wonderful face. And when we, in the background, when we came together, she always had her big smoothie to give us energy before we started the session. So what Sabine told us about music, get us into the mood, it was Emma who got us in the mood in order to kind of run these sessions. Thank you super very much, Emma. Thank you for giving us this wonderful support. And here, what a miracle, Veronique. There are two things about Veronique. A, she's really the only person who can really multitask, listen and draw at the same time, which is for me fascinating. I can't even do half a task decently when I do something. But the other thing which I think is so fascinating what Veronique does, when you look at the pictures, at the graphs, the fresks afterwards, everything we've done gains even more life than it was while in the real life. Her ability to create an afterlife, which is even more energizing than the real moment, is for me a miracle. Veronique, thank you very much for all that you have done during the last 3 months for us. Love it, love it, love it. We have Shefali, she was always in the background, but without Shefali, none of the content would have been there. Nothing would come together. And the worst thing for Shefali, she has to coordinate between Sumitra's and my agenda, which is a nightmare. So Shefali, wonderful. Thank you for kind of keeping us on track, keeping us in order. Thank you very much. And then I have to say a big thank you to Professor Dr. Sumitra Dutta. And because he was the guy in fall kind of between all types of conversations we're having. Would you be interested in doing something like that? He had this freaky idea to start a different type, a different notion of seminar. And thank you, Sumitra, for getting it started, to setting it up, and then actually giving us into the hand. And yeah, there Dan came into the play, the CEO of GBSN, who gave us a platform to actually make it happen. Dan, you were there right in the beginning on the first session. You're back. Thank you very much for giving us the opportunity. Dan, I would love to hear something from you. All of our guests who came in actually had to share a moment of when this whole mess started a little bit more than a year ago, for many of us, the world broke down and we had to reorientate, we had to break things, we had to create things. How was it for you when this whole thing started?
Oh boy, that's a tough question, Jens. It's more than a year ago, as you know, but maybe just a little context. I'm one of these people that was traveling about 4 times a month, a couple of times internationally and a couple of times domestically, as this began to happen. In fact, in February, I was landing in mid-February in Milan. And if you remember the sequence of events in Milan, this became sort of the second hotspot after parts of China. And I had no idea. I think the biggest thing for me was, honestly, I was clueless landing in Milan, not really understanding what was happening, why my temperature was being taken, and all of those things. And in fact, it wasn't until I landed back in the US that I began to realize something serious was happening. And I think, you know, just to make it short, my initial feeling was not only disbelief, but that we will get over this quickly, as we always do. And you know, that feeling of cluelessness and to me is a feeling I'd like never to replicate, right? Where I'm just finding out about something so dangerous and so important behind the everyone else. Thanks for that question, Jens. That was an interesting experience that we've all been through. But I also appreciate being here. As Jens mentioned, I was here for the opening, and now I'm here for the end. And I don't know about you, but have you ever had this feeling that you've missed something very special? Maybe it was a party or something like that. That you just missed out. Well, I'm having that feeling right now. It's giving me goosebumps. In fact, I've heard all along from the team, and it was by intention. I did not intend to stay throughout the experience, but I've heard all along about how fantastic it has been. And I've seen some of the graphics, I've heard some of the anecdotes, and I just want to say that at least from my perspective, the feeling I'm having right now is that I missed something very special. And I want to congratulate all of you and thank you. In fact, I came into this wanting to thank the first and foremost, the participants. This doesn't happen without you being engaged, without, of course, you showing up, without you wanting to share with others. And if anybody deserves congratulations and thanks, it's all of the participants. I joined early enough to see Jacqueline, and I understand Jacqueline's been very dedicated, as any of you have, and I just want to congratulate you. But that's not all. In fact, Jens had already mentioned several folks, but each time you met, or regularly when you met, you had guests, and I know all of them aren't here. I do know that Nana and Christian are here, but each time you have guests, I'm going to go back and thank them for creating this special opportunity. As we know, the facilitator alone in any business class isn't always enough, right? But then I also want to thank Emma and Shafali for their work behind the scenes. Shafali is a research assistant, and Emma, what a great colleague she has been, but I see even very clearly how much she's contributed to this specialness that we have here. I also want to thank Veronique. I saw that Jens called you Verone, or Vero. I've seen some of your graphics, and well, I almost feel like I was there. Of course, that thing that I mentioned earlier is not always visible in the slides, but you could tell there was something special happening. I also want to thank Sumitra for making this happen. But finally, I want to thank Jens. Jens Meyer. He's so busy thanking others, but as far as I could tell, Jens is the spirit as much as the orchestrator, as much as the facilitator. And I just want to both congratulate and thank you, Jens, for a job well done, for creating something special that I only wish everyone in the GBSN community could experience. And in fact, just so you know, these thanks come not just from me, but from the whole GBSN community. More than 120 schools in 50 countries, all working together for a purpose. So thank you very much, Jens, and everyone.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you. Thank you to the whole team. Guys, we are not done yet. Before you're going to get the thank you from me, you still have to do some work. So let me go back to some of the slides and kind of show you what is now on our to-do list. So these are the sessions we went through, and you've been in most of them, you've been in some of them. What we need to do is to kind of to harvest some of the stuff, but we don't harvest the regular thing. What I want to do, what I want to hear from you, what is the stuff which surprised you? I don't want to hear the common sense. I don't want to hear, oh yeah, thank you, this was helpful, we knew this and something like this. We don't care about that. What is the stuff where you were sitting in a session, where you were sitting in a session and you realized kind of, wow, this is different. Oh, I haven't thought about it. You don't have to agree with all the details. But what we're going to do, we've set up the 9 sessions we went through. And the mechanics is the following. We have some limitations in Zoom, and it's the first time that we do it. We had a little pilot, it worked, but let's see if it fully works. So in a second, Emma is going to helicopter you into the breakouts, 9 breakouts. Before you're going to hit on, oh yeah, join the breakout, do me a favor, take a deep breath. You will end up randomly in any of the breakouts. We need to send somebody from our team into the breakout room so that he or she can open the slide and put up one of the wonderful graphs Veronique has produced for us. This is a reminder. So when you're in the breakout, you have 3, 4, 5 minutes to share with each other or hammer into the chat the stuff which you thought was unexpected, was a surprise. And just get it. We're going to collect all this. So what is coming out of in the uncommon sense? Let me kind of summarize. So in a minute, we're going to helicopter. Before you hit join, give it a second. There are 9 facilitators who will first try to be faster than you in the breakout. Start sharing the screen so that when you arrive, you can go in there. Once you're in there, chat with your colleagues, leave some comments in the chat. After 3-4 minutes, drop out. Emma will navigate you to another room of your choice this time. So, and then you say, I want to go there, I want to go there, revisit this piece. It is not going to be helpful if you go into a session room where you have not been during the session. You will not catch up in the 3-4 minutes. We're going to talk about catching up by the end. We're going to give it 15 minutes, and then we're going to harvest a little bit together. What actually were the uncommon, the surprises, the unexpected things which happened. Now, let me stop the sharing. It might work, it might not work. Let's give it a try. Ladies and gentlemen, does the task seem to be clear? Mesdames et messieurs, ladies and gentlemen, meine Damen und Herren, Emma, beam them up.
It's been a wonderful experience, honestly. I enjoyed every bit of this program.
Thank you. No, but it seemed kind of, I went through 4 or 5 rooms. There were conversations going on, so I think it works. So it's another experiment. How can we create these things? It's not perfect, the systems, whatever the heck we have, but we can test. And I think if you do this once with students, a second time, it becomes a seamless experience.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
So what were some of the surprises? What were some of the unexpected things you encountered during our journey? Somebody
changing rooms.
This is the first experience
that's
ever.
New technology for me. I don't know you could do that.
Do that. So
So I can't wait to get out of here and go practice it somewhere. I need to get guys in different rooms, you know.
Cool. What else?
Okay, I particularly enjoyed every session, but stood out for me the session with my cashier on the 26th. I took the notes down, 26th of March, where he talked about nurturing and managing debates. For me, was a fantastic session because it reached out to some of my struggles working with people online, you know, staying in touch with students, frequent, clear communication, mental preparation, maintain momentum, you know, getting the right technology, and all this stuff stood out. It was just wow for me. Like, oh, this is where I just want to be.
Hey, thank you, Julia. Super. Any other surprise? What was? Please, Orianka.
For me, it was content rich and reading material light.
Yeah. Thank you. Cool. Yes. What else?
I think for me, it is the notion of icebreaker that I never thought. I always thought icebreaker is something which is to be done in the beginning of the program and with the strange participants, like strangers. But this notion of icebreaker as energizer, and as a facilitator, you also need to rehearse your energizer. It has to be planned. I mean, to say you have to keep some energizers ready. So that was something, thinking or looking icebreakers in a different format. And Olanka, what she said, it's a really rich content. It reminded me of my ITP days. Some of the sessions of ITP days, like when we brought some theater artist expert or voice modulation. But I think I really enjoyed it. It's been feel like a family. Many of us have interacted several times now. So.
Perfect. But this is for me the wonderful jump, because no, I'm not gonna let you. I want to have more of these comments. If you want me to learn, when you want us to learn more, send us the comments, give us what were the surprising things. But I want to kind of go back to our normal rhythm and say there is even more surprise out there. And I want to kind of share a little bit of story around this young man. For me, this was a revelation. Christian Rauch. The personality who's going to speak and going to talk to us of how you can celebrate knowledge. What does he do? He created the biggest science and art festival in the world. His ambition is to kind of get people to acknowledge the knowledge which is out there. And we met years back in Montreal, and even being German together, it took us kind of a long time to understand that we're actually on the same path. And he is an X-Prize ambassador. He ran galleries in Los Angeles, in Berlin. He does all types of things. And for me, it has become one of the most revealing moments to have conversations and enterprises with him, starting activities. And I wanted to get him to talk to you about what does it mean to celebrate knowledge. Christian, you're on mute. Now you're back. So, but how in your life, how did it work? March, what a mess. How did you go about it?
Well, Jens, it was quite a big mess for sure. Yeah, with now my main occupation being running a gallery space here in Berlin, that is not the most perfect fit for a lockdown that lasted over the better part of basically since March last year. So yeah, where was I? I think we were just queuing up to 3 major international exhibitions here in the gallery, and then being basically thrown into a situation where we didn't know anything anymore and just had to improvise and struggle and, you know, kind of find our inner strength again and kind of celebrate uncertainty. And that's what we did. Yeah.
And this is what we want to talk about. How do you celebrate? The master of the real life space, fascinating multimedia events. And then you can't bring these thousands of people together. What do you do? What did you learn over the last 12 months? All you.
Happy to share, Jens. And yeah, great pleasure to be with you in this last session. It really seems that it was a most memorable journey that you embarked on together. So I'm really happy and honored that I can be with you for the last session. And yeah, so Jens asked me to share a little bit of insights on, you know, how my journey was for the last year and how celebrating kind of in the digital world turned out for us as a gallery. So before I tell you that, let me give you a little bit of my background of my work and what we do, so you just understand a little bit for where this comes from. I'm trying to share a screen with you here.
Yeah, okay.
So
is it coming through? Yes.
you see it? Yeah, so I guess this was my initial problem where I started off from more than 15 years ago, being a physics student and kind of being excited about the wonders of the world and how science is full of passion and wonder and excitement. And for me, it was just the most exciting thing to do, and I wanted to share it with the world and bring more people into the conversation. And yeah, had to find out that I'm not, there's not many people that see science like that, because that's how most people see science. Perhaps a little bit dull. They remember science from their old, some horrible memories from school, and they wonder, how could anything like that be celebrated or a celebration for us? But for me, it was totally different, right? For me, that's how I see science. I see science full of sparks of wonder and full of creativity and all that, and full of also passionate people that their passion is worth sharing. And I was wondering, what to do with that frustration, and it did frustrate me that much that I decided to, skip my career as a physicist. And after finishing my PhD in positron annihilation spectroscopy, yes, there's no worries that you don't know anything about that. There's about only 4 laboratories in the world that do that. I decided I'm going to make it my mission to bring that wonder and joy and excitement of science to more people. And the tool that I chose for that is celebrating science, right? For me, that was the answer of how to open up the world of science and academia to more people. And so in 2010, I started out in Finland, where I was still a PhD student, and I started an event series called Science Slams. So I invited my research colleagues and other Finnish researchers around the country to perform their research on stage in clubs around Finland, and acting out their careers as kind of pantomimes and things like that. And here you see my current company, State Festival. It's a company that brings together science and art to celebrate the wonders of the world. And we've been, as Jens said, doing festivals in Berlin and Los Angeles, and currently running a gallery space here in Berlin, bringing together people from really all walks of life, trying to break through the wall of kind of interdisciplinary burden and separations, and also bring generations together for that topic. And yeah, so here you see some pictures of our first festival. It's a little video there in an old factory hall in Berlin. It's been 3 days celebrating time as a topic. Yeah, and funny enough, a couple of thousand people came, world-leading scientists together with young people, celebrating physics and psychology and all that of time. So why do we celebrate, and what makes a good celebration? I think many of us ask that question to themselves over the last year. For me, it is celebrating brings people together, right? And it creates bonds that stick, and you know, it deepens relationships, and that's important also for learning, because if in the end we learn from people, and you can only learn from people if we can, if we have an attachment to them, if we can kind of speak to them. So a celebration is a good opportunity to create that bond. Secondly, you know, it makes you feel good after all, and when you celebrate and when you feel good, you're much more open and receptive. And when you're much more open and receptive, you're much more likely to also accept new things and be less resistant. And yeah, after all, it also creates lasting memories also where other experiences and learnings can attach to. You know, this is, for example, a champagne bottle cork that I from the after party of the first state festival in Berlin that I keep as a dear memory. And you know, when I look at this thing and I think of the celebration there, it's a whole world of people and learnings and all that coming up for me. So you know, that's why celebrating for me is a meaningful cause. So what makes a good celebration? For me, it's about basically creating a new world, right? For a particular moment, where people can come together to forget time, forget their everyday hustle, you know, let go, be human, and make new friends and meet old ones. And that's a very joyful endeavor to be able to do something like that as a profession. So I really like that, and I love it. And and over the time, there's been a few things that you know, I noted down for myself as kind of some guiding thoughts and rules for how to celebrate, kind of the state playbook. And over the last year, of course, I had to basically wrap that up and try to experiment of what that could mean in the digital world. And I'm far away from having arrived at that answer, but I want to share with you some of the thoughts and experiments that I did with my colleagues over the last year. So here's some insights into the state playbook of how to celebrate, right? Some 5 points. I'm gonna quickly let the slide up, and then we're gonna go through all of them in a little bit more detail. What are the 5 points for me? Kind of some of the 5 major points. Point 1, create rich sensual experiences. It's very important for me, I think. Number 2, set simple new rules while, you know, being also bold enough to break old ones. Allow for discovery. 4th, be playful and surprise. And 5th, be the champion and encourage others. Right? Simple rules. Let me talk a little bit about them in more detail. I'm gonna end the screen here for now that we can see each other better. There's so many lovely faces that I would love to see again.
Yeah.
Okay. Here you're back. So the first point, create rich sensual experiences. Why? I think foremost, every celebration is an intense experience, right? And we're rather, while we have a rich dimension of experiences that we can take in, we can only take them in through our senses, right? Through our 5 senses, you know, seeing, hearing, smelling, touching, tasting. So if we want to create a rich experience, let's stimulate those senses. How do we do that normally? Well, through good food, right? We smell and taste it, through music that we hear, through wonderful art that we're watching, you know, through human contact, dance, touching. You know. In real life, that's easy. You know, we all know those amazing sensual and rich experiences. You know, everyone has their memories. For me, you know, it's the things that we create with the festivals. It's kind of more like a playground for sensory experiences around science. You know, where we do like think like smell dating, where people can sniff each other and then do like a pheromone-based dating experience, you know, learning about the science of smell on the way. And or I don't know, we had something like the Anthropocene ice cream stand, where an artist was translating climate change models into you know, stimuli for our enteric nervous system, so you could eat the results of climate change basically as an ice cream bowl. You know, obviously you wouldn't taste it, but still, you know, over that, learn about the science behind it. So how do you do that in the digital world? Some things are perhaps a little bit more easy, other more difficult. Seeing and hearing can be done easily, right? So why not invite a performance artist and screen their show as a little eye candy for your event? There's wonderful artists that are all eagerly looking for ways to distribute their work at the moment, and that's really a wonderful opportunity. You know, hearing, show a music act, do a meditation journey, a common listening session. I mean, it's more difficult, but surely there's opportunities. What's little bit more challenging, of course, is the tasting and touching and smelling kind of part. But also there we experimented with things like, possibly many of you as well. Why not hire a bartender, you know, and have everyone mix drinks that you taste together, or you could even send ingredients or even finished dishes to people if they're like not too difficultly distributed. If it's like in one country or city, there's companies that can distribute it around. You know, work with this physical surprise box, where, you know, we, for example, hired a smell artist to create a custom scent for our event and sent it to all the participants. So in front of before each event, you know. Okay. I'm talking over it. Before each event, the participants could open that custom smell for the event, and everyone was kind of immersing into that you know, into that world together, or send some sort of materials for haptic experiences and exploring something around. There's things to be creative, and there's opportunities. Set clear and new rules while breaking old ones. I think we all know that every good celebration, it's kind of it's an opportunity to act out, right? But in a controlled way. So even in the most formal black tie event or something, it's like there are clear rules, you know, dress code and how you behave and all that, and that makes the celebratory setting. So that's something you could very easily also translate into the digital space, you know, by working with personas or alter egos, kind of a weird code of conduct that you come up with for the event. It's something that people, you know, might have joy and might find joy and to slip into. Give them, you know, have them give new names or something like that. For us, that was really, we had really positive experiences with that. Yeah, be playful and surprise. I guess that's always a very important ingredient. And there are unlimited possibilities. So just stage something unexpected. Have something, you know, disturb and rock and appear at your event that nobody is really anticipating. So, and we worked, for example, at one of our events, we hired a video artist to do like a art intervention with a face filter art. So, you know, while we were doing our video call, the whole call was shifting into kind of this crazy, immersive, trippy visual wonder world, and you know, there's things to play around with. Allow for discovery. I think that's also really easy to do. At our festivals, that's basically, yeah, that's kind of this creating this worlds where people can wander around and discover new things and do it on their own way. People are different, right? Some are a little bit more introvert, some are more extrovert. not everyone wants to be thrown into a lively discussion and go all in. You know, others enjoy by just, they take a little bit longer time. Give them the time. So by creating little playgrounds, little worlds that they can discover and explore on their own time. And that can be even simple, you know, just create an illustration and assign by an artist and assign different breakout rooms to different worlds, you know, each of them having a different rule system. And with kind of just a simple guiding visual stimuli, they might pick it up. Last but not least, my last point, be the champion and encourage others. Of course, you know, if you're not the chief celebrator, who else will will do it? You know, somebody has to lead the way and show them what, you know, create space for others also to feel comfortable to act out and celebrate. And I think, you know, that goes for every good teaching experience, that goes for everything that takes a little bit courage and people to get moving. So also with celebrating. For me, there's one person that does that so well that he's been since years my guiding example for that and mentor. And that person is not only in the room today, but I don't know if you know that, he also has birthday today. Yeah. So you might you might guess who it is, because many of you said the same thing about him like I do. Think of him. It's dear Jens. I think
we have to sing happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jens. Happy birthday to you.
Come on, pump it up, Christian. Pump it up, pump it up,
Happy
pump it
birthday.
up. Hey, happy birthday, Jens.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday,
God
Jens.
bless you, Jens. God bless you.
I seriously, now I have to tell the story. It will be very
Doing
brief.
amazing.
Now this recording will have a very special place, and it will come next to it. Kind of, this is very touching. Thank you. Thank you, Christian. It was not meant to be, but thank you. This is special, and reminds me of a moment 2 years ago. I was in some of the slums of Mumbai, and we were working with a group of senior managers, trying to convey them that the world is different than it might look from the boardroom. And we were working with a charity with kids which had no homes or no homes to live in. And what we do, we basically, when we do this, we renovate, we look for charities, we look for places which need not money, they need help, they need care from people who otherwise wouldn't. So we renovate, we construct, so we renovated a roof during these days and then created a playground for the kids. And it was my birthday, and suddenly I found myself with 50 little kids singing in different Indian songs my birthday. So you become part of this gallery now. Thank you very much. This is very kind. It's super moving. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Christian, let me wrap it. We've always been good kind of keeping it. So there are two aspects which there are the 5 aspects which you mentioned. But for me, the big thing is, look, yeah, we've lost the notion of senses, but we've gained them. We can reproduce them, we can kind of distribute them. We can invite people to go into the kitchen, we can do things, kind of make it, and with music and stuff like that. And then it's so easy to kind of create the surprise. We've played around over 3 months with surprises, with things we can do. I think it's part of what Christian shows in his work. People might say this is too complex, too difficult, too boring science. No, if you reframe it, you can bring it in. It doesn't have to be 100%, but if all of us take these very short moments to say kind of, how can we reframe it? How can we, with music or with a play or with a game, introduce it? There's one strong point. There's so many artists out there who are sitting at home. Ask them. They love to do stuff. If you say, hey, I have this complex matter, I have this thing to teach, I have this to convey, there are thousands of people who are confined in one way or another, they're happy to give you a hand to come up with ideas to do things differently. Surprise your students. Christian, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining in. Thank you for this wonderful celebration. I haven't seen you in that jacket yet. This is kind of... Okay, let me go back. Ladies and gentlemen, we are 1 minute over. The big thing is what Dan already said. It's a fuzzy picture. It's not everybody, but it's, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. So don't look for yourself, not everybody is there, but it is the point. Thank you. You've been a fantastic crowd. It has been so much fun being together with you, getting things done, and then you see these talking faces all over. There is lots of things which we can do. When we started it, we didn't know where we would end up. But now the question to you is, give us feedback, send us mails, get in touch with us. What do you want to do afterwards? Do you want to do something afterwards? I had Anastasia kind of saying she cannot stay the whole time, but she says, Jens, can we organize peer groups over a rhythm of 3 months? We had a conversation yesterday with Rena, who says kind of, look, there are things where we can do follow-ups every 6 months, but she finally brought up an idea of kind of, why don't we take always 2 or 3 of the sessions as a cluster and do a periodic review, what has emerged, what we share. We're open to everything. We don't have a business model. We don't have anything in mind. It was a fantastic journey. We explored something, we discovered something, and somewhat there's the sentiment, this melancholy, even kind of just letting go. So super happy to receive your comments. We cannot promise anything, but I would be and love to kind of continue something to share. What is factual, starting Monday, everything has been reformatted on the Iglesia web platform. Let me give you quickly an idea of where you're going to see everything which we've done so far. Let me go here into the web. So on the link, which you're going to get with the slides, there is the whole series. There are the sessions. You can go in there. You have the overview done by Fifali. You have an understanding of the speakers. You have the files, the recording. You have everything available in there. It is only available at the moment to you, because it will still take me 3-4 weeks to kind of re-edit some of the pieces, there's still some edges on there. So please go with it. If you have comments, if you have tips for us to how to make it better, improve it. But over the next 4 weeks, you're going to see some rounding up of the material. And I hope in 4 weeks' time, we know a little bit better based on your input, what are we going to do in the future with it? So this is where we are. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for everything you've done for us. Thank you very much for everything which has happened out there. The knowledge you created on our side. Thank you, Divya. She invited me yesterday already to a panel, kind of talking to her colleagues. Oh yeah, one of the things which I hadn't thought about, kind of we have requests from schools to kind of license it into schools, something like this. I don't know. So, mesdames et messieurs, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you realize how much I appreciate your presence, your engagement, your willingness to be part of this wonderful journey. It was a wonderful birthday present for me to kind of have you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jens. Wonderful. Thank you to everyone for participating in this. I think you've been a great, wonderful group. And thanks to Emma and everyone else in the team. So have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful rest of the year also. We look forward to staying in touch.
Yes, thank you, Veronique.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jens. Thank you, everyone. Love you guys.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It
happy
was
birthday,
great.
Jens.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.